Keilim Perik Yudalid, Mishnah Ches, and this is the last Mishnah of this Perik, and the last Mishnah, in fact, of the Sugya, of the Prokim dealing with Kli Matches. And this is actually a very technical, complicated din. The din is not particularly complicated, it's just the structure. The Tzuras HaKli is very complicated. We don't have these Kelim nowadays. And I would recommend to look in this Sefer, which I've quoted very often, Sefer by Rabbi Posen, Tavanis Kelim, where he's got quite a few pages on these locks, keys and locks. Just to give an example of the type of detail he's got here. All these types of locks, and they're actually quite difficult. But we're going to do the simple pshat, which is the pshat of the Tiferes Yisrael. We have a mafteach shel arkuba, a key which is the shape of a knee. In other words, this is a simple key. The key is used from the outside. It's inserted. It's a wooden block. I'll show you a picture here. That key there. Right? It's curved. It's a piece of wood curved. You stick it into the lock from the outside, and then the curved bit enters downwards into the lock, and that's how you pull the bolt across. And it's broken. Shenishbar metech arkuvose. It's broken actually on the curved spot. So now you've got the top bit, which is a little bit of a curve, or the bottom bit with a little bit of broken curve. Tahar, because of course you cannot use the key anymore. The Tanakh holds is very simple. It's supposed to be used the key to open the door from the outside. It cannot be used broken. Tahar. Rabbi Huda Mitame Mipineshu Peseach Boy Mibifnim says it's true that the key is primarily shaped and designed to be used from the outside, to slot into the hole and pull the bolt across, because you can, although you can't use it anymore from the outside, but you can use it if you're inside the house and you want to open the bolt. You've just got to find a piece of wood which you can then work into the slot in the bolt to lever the bolt across. And that does work from the fnim, although you haven't got the whole shape of the arkuba. He holds that's enough to be metame with this secondary function, not their primary function. He holds that's enough of the function of a key. However, shall gum, if the key hasn't got a gentle curve, the key is actually gum is a straightforward right angle, and as shown in the picture here, where my finger is, that sort of key's got a straight angle. Shenishbar miterch kuma. If it's broken at that joint, then what you've left with is actually flat pieces with no curve at all. Then the chula alma, because it has got no curve, you can't work it into the bolt, and therefore not from the inside, not from the outside, Torah, because the key is now broken. We were talking before about a key, a straightforward piece of wood, and it's the shape of the wood that allows you to insert into the bolt and open it. However, there's a more complicated key, where the key itself, never mind the shape, has actually chafin unakovin. Chafin are pins. There's a piece of wood, and it has little pins sticking out. And it's also got a series of holes in it, the kovin. And when you put the key in, it depends on the lock on the inside. Sometimes the lock on the inside has holes into which the pins, the chafin on the outside fit, or sometimes there's pins on the inside, and when you stick your key in with the holes sit onto the pins and opens it. Says the Mishnah, nitlu chafin, if the pins are broken, this key's got both, so it operates two types of locks. Nitlu chafin, if the pins are missing, tomei pnei kovin, because the key still has holes and therefore will open a lock where the lock has pins, the key with a hole is able to open the lock with the pins. Tomei pnei kovin. Other way around is statman kovin. It's the holes that have been blocked up, and all you're left with is the pins. Tomei pnei chavin. The pins are enough to be metame the key, because the key can now open a lock with holes. Nitlu chafin v'nistatman kovin. If both are missing, the pins are missing, and the holes have been blocked up. The pins are broken in such a way that they actually block, they're bent, and are now blocking the hole so that neither works, nor the chafin nor the kovin. Tara, then the key is useless. And the Mishnah carries on with a simple rule, Mesanene shel chardal, a metal strainer used for straining mustard. Shenifutzu ba shloisha nekovim milamaton. At the bottom you've got a series of little fine holes. 3 holes are broken, and they become 1 hole. Then the strainer is useless. 2 holes, nishkefellach. But if 1 is turned into 3, then that's called a broken strainer. And the Mishnah ends off with an interesting din of afarchas shel matchos tmeo. Afarchas is a sort of funnel-shaped object. It's a feeder. When you have a millstone and you want to feed all the grains into the mill, you put them all into the wide section at the top. Then it has a small opening at the bottom. All the stuff falls down. It comes up one by one and feeds the mill at the right speed. That's called an afarchas. Made out of metal. It's a kli matchos, and of course matchos doesn't have to have a base kibble. Dvorim pshutim, that such a kli will be tomei. And as the Mishnah says, afarchas shel matchos tmeo, difficult to know why this din is actually in the Mishnah. May I suggest that if we go to the end of the Masechta, the end of Perik Lamed, dealing with glass, which we'll get to under Mit Hashem, again, the last words of this Masechta deal with an afarchas of glass. Afarchas shel zechuchis tahira. So these 2 important points of the Masechta, Perik Daled, where we've now finished Cheres and Matchas, we're like halfway. At the end of the Masechta dealing glass, we've got an afarchas there shel zechuchis, which is tahir. Now we have an afarchas shel matchas, which is tomei. Maybe this is Meramas, the Gemara Chagiga, where the Gemara Chagiga is telling you how careful you've got to be when you learn Torah. The Gemara says, Af ato asay oznecha ka'afar cheses. When you learn Torah, you've got to make your ears like an afar cheses. Let all the information come in, and then you've got to process it and let it sieve through, so that you can actually come up one by one. You can actually analyze each din. Says the Mishnah, you should know divrei mitamin, the divrei mitamin, understand exactly why some things are tomei or why some things are tar. And maybe the Mishnah is sort of giving you this remez of the afarchas at these 2 important junctures of the Masechta. Baruch Hashem, we finished Perik Dalet, Perik dealing with Kli Matchos, and now we're going to move on to Perik.